Some of the poems for the new poetry research paper come from a website called Poetry Foundation. So I'm going to show you how to cite the website Poetry Foundation as well as the individual poems that live within there. So I'm going to open up one of the poems. So if you see Poetry Foundation at the top, this is the tutorial for you. You'll notice the text of the poem here, the author is listed at the top, but at the bottom, you'll see that there's more information about where the poem actually came from and that it was printed by permission. Okay, so that's very important. We want to include as much of that as we can in our citations. In Noodle Tools, you'll want to choose New Source, and this time you're going to choose Website. Now from here, normally we would press Web Page. However, we also know that we have more information on this website than a typical one. So I'm going to take a look at where the original source was. Here's the title of the poem, and then it says From Above the River, the complete poems and selected prose. Okay, I see that the copyright year is 1990. Usually when we have just a year, we know that it is a book. I also see that it says the complete poems, which to me indicates not only is it a book, but it's also going to be some sort of anthology of poetry. So I'm going to choose anthology/collection. This will give us the correct template for our work. So first we're going to start with the name of the container website. So that's, where it's living now. The name of our website is Poetry Foundation. As you work, you can either copy and paste or you can type. Next, we need the URL. That can be taken from the top. If you're on an iPad, you can tap and hold for 3 seconds and copy. We don't need a DOI. And if your instructor would require it, you would use the Today button for the date of access. I would always recommend including that with a website because websites can change often. Now we're going to go ahead and cite the poem itself. So here we have an author for our poem. It's at the top. It's also listed at the bottom. And then the title of the specific work. In this case, I'm going to copy and paste. Do make sure that your capitalization and punctuation is correct. All right. Year-specific work was originally authored or published. We're going to save that because we're going to cite it along with the anthology and collection that it lives in now, or that it came from, rather. So moving on, we are going to go ahead and cite where the poem was first published. We're looking for pages and then contributors to the whole. Let's see here. I don't see pages. I know that James Wright wrote the book, and those are his poems, but we've already used his name, so we don't need to do that again. We do, however, need the title of the work that it came from. So I will copy after the word from to the period. Paste it in. It also asks if we have any other information about that, the volume, the total number of volumes. I don't believe we do, but I'll check. Also, it's asking for a publisher and a year. So this is where we're going to include that year that I talked about earlier. So I don't have any volume or any sort of thing like that. We know that the year is 1990. And then it says reprinted by permission. And that's where you're going to actually find your publisher. This one was University Press, so I'm just going to shorten that to UP, which is customary, and then put in the date of 1990. At this point, I believed I have used all of the information that I have from both Poetry Foundation and from the original source that the poem was published. So I can go ahead and save my citation, and there you have it.